So man, let's go ahead and get started. We got everybody in here.
All right, good.
Yeah, basically, man, what we're gonna do, man, we're gonna talk real estate development. I'll ask you a couple of questions. We just have a little candid conversation, and then, they'll be asking questions, kind of keeping everything going along, and kind of do it like that. But first thing I want to ask you, man, just kind of give a background on who you are, what you've done, what you're currently doing. I know this before you get started, I'll go ahead and tell everybody, hey, he helped me out a lot. Yeah, when y'all hear me talking about these car washes and stuff, like he helped me out a lot. We actually went to the car wash convention in Vegas last November. And
Yeah.
and that was a big help for me. That one step, even we were there for one day, but I ended up going to another one in Nashville, and that knowledge just kept compounding. And I always say, man, when you take an action, it builds your confidence. Because at first I was like, man, I don't know nothing about car washes. But that going to that first show and then going to that second show, talking to everybody, talking to Ahmed, him, we on the phone for hours talking about the car wash game and everything. So I just want to get that out the way and let them know, like, man, you really helped me with that. And now, we got 2, 3 in production right now. So,
I mean, it's not super complicated, these things. I mean, you just got to understand, just go to the show, talk to a few people, and just look at the equipment. And you're like, hey, this isn't anything. This isn't rocket science. You know what I mean? It's really doable. So,
especially, and once you start taking action, you'll be able to see that. Like, it's not as hard as you think once you start putting the one foot in front of the other.
mhm.
But yeah, so I mean, go ahead and kind of tell them who you are, what you're working on, and why you build better.
All right, man. Well, happy to be here, everyone. Glad to be here. Good to see you again, Rashad. It's been what 3, 4 weeks since I saw you last
Yeah.
it's too fast. My name is Ahmed Sarafi. I'm Southern California born and raised, East LA guy. I grew up in the gas station business. I grew up pumping gas in my dad's gas. My dad had a gas station for like 30, 40 years. I grew up pumping gas my whole life, through high school and college. Took me 8 years to go to college because I was pumping gas 60, 70 hours a week. And after college, I just kind of fell into with a professor guiding me into commercial real estate brokerage, right? Just kind of being a broker, kind of like resident commercial sales and leasing out here in Southern California, mostly industrial warehouses and some office work. Did that for a while. Started investing and developing small things along the side. Rolled into managing a large contracting business for a friend of mine. He had a big contracting business. We're building high schools and colleges and universities and stuff like that, and managing large teams of developments and construction and guys in the field, as well as the pretty much the whole process in the office as well, which is project management specific. And did that for a while and just came full circle and came back. I left that and was continuing to invest and develop along the way and focus on that full time right now. And I just like putting stuff together. I mean, it's like you find things in your life that you enjoy doing, and I just like putting things together. And so developing real estate, finding opportunities, creating solutions. I like doing that. I like finding the bits and pieces and how do I make this better? How do I put it together? It's like, give me a box of Legos, give me a broken car, give me, whatever it is, just give me the pieces. And I just want to put things together to make something whole, whether it's, building better friendships with Rashad or building better buildings by doing it better than everyone else. I just like doing that. So that's kind of where I am. And I think that's where you and I connected, Rashad, because, you're doing some cool, amazing stuff. And I love following along and seeing your projects and we connected on a few things. And I'm glad we're in the same business together because it's exciting.
Nice. Hey, we talking about putting things together, right? Chandler, let's talk about how we put these development deals together, and the pieces that makes everything whole. Like as far as building a team, getting the capital stack, getting the entitlements from the city and the municipality. It sounds like a lot, but the way I look at it is when I go in there and I go into my pre-application meeting, I'm just basically doing what they tell me to do.
Yeah.
It's really, you just really getting a checklist from the city. Hey, you need to go file for rezoning. You need a variance. You need this, that, and the third. You need a hydrology study. So it's just really just basically following those steps.
100%. It's what we do isn't rocket science. I mean, you don't need to have a medical degree or an engineering degree or some crazy, advanced education. You just got to learn how to follow the steps and don't skip steps, and just figure out how to do it correctly in the order you're supposed to do it.
Right.
You're right about that. The cities and the counties will give you a majority of the steps you need to take, to process the plans, the permits, the applications, the designs, the entitlements, the reports through their system, and they'll show you how to do that, right? But you just got to do it in order, the way they tell you to do it. Don't try and skip steps. Don't try and do it your way, or I'll go back to it later. I'll do this later, or things like that. Just follow the process, because, like I said, it's not rocket science, but if you follow the steps, you should have a successful project.
Right. And for anybody who don't know what entitlements basically are, things like getting the zoning right, getting the approvals for the city, going to the variance, getting the planning commission approvals. Those are the entitlements during the development process. So let me ask you this, Amit. What advice would you give to someone who's trying to get into real estate development? Because everybody on this call, they're in real estate in some form, whether it be wholesaling, flipping, being a realtor, that type of thing. So what advice would you give them if they wanted to get into real estate development? And then I'll pick it back off you.
I would say pick a lane. Pick a lane. Real estate is, I mean, if everyone here on the call is in real estate, you're in real estate, I'm in real estate, I'm a broker, you're a broker, we've done deals and transactions. It's about picking a lane and really getting an inch wide and a mile deep. So you can be a car wash developer, you could be a multifamily developer, Rashad, you could a small home community developer. You could build single family infill lots in between existing homes. It's just about picking a lane that and that you're comfortable with. And I think it's a lot of people talk about, real estate development is sexy. It's like the top of the food chain in real estate. And to me, it's just another branch of real estate, because it's all about making money. So if you're making money doing loans, and that'd be making more than me. A lot of people make more money than I do doing loans. A lot of people make a lot more money than I do flipping houses. It doesn't really matter, as long as you're happy and you're successful at what you're doing. But it's about picking a lane. And when you pick a lane, don't pick a lane because it's sexy. Pick a lane because it's something that it's something that you're comfortable with. I would love to go develop high-rise, luxury hotels in major cities like Miami and Atlanta and New York. That's sexy, but I know nothing about it, and I'll never attempt it, because it's just completely outside of my experience. My experience is multifamily and industrial, and I just stick to those two things. That's all I do. I don't go to any single family. I don't go do any retail. I don't do any office. I don't do any special purpose. I don't do any anything that is outside of my skill set, because I want to be able to be successful and profitable, and not try and do anything that looks sexy or looks cool or looks fun to do. It's what you're good at. Pick a lane, double down, and become the best of it.
Right. And you said something that made, that I say a lot: go deep instead of wide. when you talked about picking a lane, and I'm 100% with you on that. You got to go deep instead of wide. And what I would say to somebody trying to get into real estate, I'm gonna start with the fundamentals. First, go get a feel for what it's like to sit inside a zoning meeting. Even if you don't have a deal yet, at least you can get, get into the atmosphere and see what what they're talking about behind those closed doors. In these zoning meetings and everything like this, and now they even online, so you don't even have to leave the comfort of your own home. So I'll start with the fundamentals because that's one of the things that I did. Even when I was a realtor, I met a developer, and he invited me to one of his city council meetings where he was trying to get a BP, a Dunkin' Donuts drive-through through a BP. They denied him, right? But I was in the room. I got to experience that. I got to feel that. So when I go, I'm not as nervous. Like I've been here before, even though it wasn't my deal. So yeah. I always tell people, if you want to get into real estate development, let's take the first action step. Let's go sit in one of these meetings and really get inside the atmosphere.
Yeah, 100%. It's people, I just want to throw this in here real quick. People got to remember real estate development it's slow money. You got to have the patience for it. Even though the reward is great, if you do it right, you're not flipping a house, you're not selling a house and getting a commission, you're not wholesaling a deal, you're not, in and out, 3 to 6 months. You could be in, 18 to 24 months before you actually see some profit out of things like this. So you understand that development is slow money, it's patient money. So but it's also good money if you do it right. So just keep that in mind,
Right. So I know my next question was going to be, how do you build a team? But I know you pretty much, do you work off a team or do you do a lot of stuff by yourself? I know there's different ways to do it.
Yeah, I'm building a team as we speak. I actually recently hired a coach to coach me. He's really big on wholesaling and rehabbing and flipping and the BRRRR method across the country. His name's Kent Clothier, Real Estate Worldwide. He's in San Diego. I've known him for a few years, and I've just been very I admired his system because he's doing 1,000 homes a year. And this guy has his system down pat. So teaching me how to build a team, teaching me who to hire first, how to give them roles and responsibilities to free up my time to do things that I am better at than other things, and learning who that person is and how to find them and how to train them and how to create a culture within. So, maybe your first deal or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, depending on the size, you may be, doing it on your own. I've been doing most things on my own too. If anyone that I do work with, it's kind of a third party. I hire an engineer, I hire an architect, I hire a broker, I hire a management company. They're kind of like third party. Even though they report to me, they're not my in-house team. So for the first few times, you'll, pretty much contract out a lot of your work. But as you get busier and busier, you will start needing to build that team to support you, because you can only do so much on your own. And until you get that team, you're going to be, only able to execute so many deals every year like I am. So I want to do more. So I'm actually out looking to hire a few people right now for my team.
Nice. Somebody got a question. Give me 1 second. Ashley, go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, yes. So my question is, what project management software do you use and why? Because right now, people are mostly talking about Trello, Asana, Monday.com, but then I found some other ones that are also interesting as well. They're not as well known, but you can still do things. Like the basics you can do. But when it comes to automation, do you look for that? Is that your top priority, or what's your priority in the functionality of your software, and what do you use, or what would you suggest?
It's a good question, because I'm right in the middle of that myself with my new hires, and and taking everything from my old systems of spreadsheets and emails and stuff and putting it into that project management software. So I've been looking a lot at Monday.com and Trello. Those are the two that I've been really looking at a lot. I know there's some others, but for the meantime, I do have virtual assistants that help me on certain things. And for the meantime, until I get really, really busy, I think the more simplistic the software is and the more accessible, whether it's on your phone or on your computer, is what's important for the beginning of your development career, right? Don't get into some of these project management softwares that I used to work at when we were building colleges and universities, and we had $100 to $200 million budgets, and we had 12 people on the development team. Very complicated, very in-depth, very hard to even learn how to use. So in the meantime, try and get something simplistic like a Monday or Trello, and then once you start getting really, really busy and your business starts scaling, then you can think about additional add-ons or different types of software that will supplement what you need. But for the meantime, keep it simple.
Yeah, and I use Monday.com as well. We're actually in the process of transitioning from Monday to Asana. So I've been using Monday.com for about 4 years. Back when I was a realtor broker, and I'm looking for something more simplistic as well. I mean, Monday it's so customizable, it can get confusing. So I just need something with a couple automations and, somewhere I can, keep my list in my Excel files and things like that. But yeah, we use Monday.com as well. Anybody else got any other questions? Thanks, Ashley. I'm gonna send you back. But yeah, Ahmed, I know I saw some on your Instagram where you talk about percentage billing. And this is something that I was talking about yesterday in the group chat of, how to handle these contractors. They'll get over if you let them, and kind of walk us through the percentage billing process. I know what it is, but I want you to kind of explain it to them. Because when when y'all start using hard money, if y'all have ever done a hard money deal, most hard money lenders, they give their draws based on percentages. If the framing is 50% done, they'll give you 50% of, whatever the budget was for that. If, the drywall is 50% done, they'll give you 50% of that back. But what I'm asking Ahmed to do is to, based on the contractors, how to pay the contractors based on percentage, so you're never at risk of being burnt.
Correct. And I kind of wish I knew you're going to ask this question, because I'll pull it up and I'll find it when I get a moment and I'll send it to you. So percentage billing is a process that is used by all qualified, sophisticated, and well-run developers and contractors, or general contractors, when they do a project, right? So whether you are contracting a home addition or a new home build, or you're building a $150 million high school, like the project I was on a few years back, it's a system called percentage billing, because every contractor or subcontractor, when they get awarded the job, a lot of them will give you say, hey, I need a deposit, or I need some money up front, or I need this or that, right? Well, the question is, what do you need that money for, right? And a lot of times it's called general conditions, right? So general conditions on larger jobs are, hey, I need to mobilize, I need a construction fence and a power pole and a porta potty and a construction trailer and all these things that kind of get the project started. So a lot of times those are called general conditions, right? So sometimes they may ask for a set amount or a certain percentage, or it's in their budget, right? But as the project progresses, construction guys are not necessarily great with money. So a lot of times they get paid weekly, right? Mm-hmm. So weekly, I mean, if you pay weekly, a lot of times that's going to happen, or every 2 weeks. So they're going to come and present you a billing, say, hey, I need to get paid some money for the last week or the last 2 weeks of my work, whether it's labor or materials or this or that. And what that is if you're working with a general contractor and he has a bunch of subcontractors underneath him that need to get paid as well, the concrete guy, the air conditioning guy, the framing guy, the roofing guy, the plumbing guy, he's going to come to you with a billing. He's going to say, I need to get paid, right? Well, percentage billing is on that billing sheet. It could be an Excel spreadsheet, and it could say, hey, the plumber has completed 37% of his job. The framer has completed 54% of his job. The air conditioning guy has completed 20% of his job, right? So in essence, you will pay them according to that. So if the air conditioning guy's contract is $10,000, but he's only completed 20%, he would only be entitled to about a $2,000 check or billing, right? Because a lot of times these guys will come and say, hey, I need 50%, I need $10,000, I need $100,000. And a lot of people will pay because they don't know any better. And this is where people get in trouble, because they will pay 50, 60, 80% of a job, and it's only 20% complete, and the contractor takes off, and one, either he never comes back, or two, he drags out the project for so long it's like crickets. So percentage billing is a process of paying your contractor, your general contractor, your subcontractors in accordance to how much work and material has been installed. I'm not talking material delivered on site, because material delivered on site is technically not installed. So if there's a big load of lumber sitting on the ground, I'm not paying for that, not until it's installed, right? So this is a way of protecting you and your job. Now, if you're on a large job like I have done, these big, $50, $100, $200 million jobs, you're going to get a lot of billings, right? And sometimes that billing could be 4 or 5 pages long of different sections and percentages. It could be building A, plumbing, first floor, 20%, building C, framing, third floor, 16%. So you'll get that billing, and as you as a professional, or the developer, or the general contractor, the project manager overseeing this job, you're going to take that billing, go out to the field where the job is, and double check. You can be like, oh, well, you're requesting 43% for plumbing for building C, but I can see you only put in 10%. You're only getting 10% of that amount, right? So when they give you the percentage billing, you also got to double check to make sure that what they're requesting is actual completed work on the job site. Don't just take it for what they say it is. You got to go out and double check it before, and either check it off or adjust it before you send out that check.
Nice. Anybody got any questions on percentage billing, how to pay these contractors so you're not at risk?
Yeah.
Got any questions on that?
Yeah. I'll give you a little horror story real quick. I was doing a job on a new school that we're building, and the contract for the air conditioning was air conditioning that was to be turned over and responsibility of the school district once the air conditioning is installed and activated, right? Mm-hmm. Well, one day it was installed, but they haven't gone up and connected the wires and turned it on yet, right? But it's on the building. Well, that weekend, somebody came in and they gutted 20 air conditioning units and took all the copper out, right? Went back and forth, insurance companies, legal, everything. It was the responsibility of the contractor, because that air conditioning was not property of the school yet because it hasn't been turned on, right? Right? Or sometimes people would deliver air conditioning units to the job site, and you have 20 air conditioning units sitting on a job site. They're going to install them next week or in 2 weeks or whatever. Well, if that air conditioning gets damaged or stolen, it is the responsibility of the contractor, not you. Just because it was delivered, it doesn't mean you have received possession of it or they've turned it over to you yet. So material on the ground, wood, plumbing, air conditioning, whatever it is, you got to make sure that that doesn't become a contentious spot, because a lot of times we'll say, well, I delivered it. It's your responsibility. It's on your job site. I'm sorry. I did my job. I bought the wood and it's here now. And we're like, yeah, well, I haven't received the wood. It hasn't been installed yet. It hasn't been turned over to me yet. How can I be responsible for it? So you got to make sure you guys in your contracts make sure that material will not be paid for until it is installed, not just sitting on the ground.
And that's something you put in your contract, right?
Yeah, it says material and labor will be paid upon installation, not delivery.
Okay. So, okay. Gotcha. All right. Corey, go ahead and ask your question.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah. How do you determine the completion, like the percentage of the completion, if you don't know nothing about it? Like say like plumbing.
Yeah.
So, how do you determine how much he's completed if you don't know nothing about like the plumbing?
So that kind of comes down to breaking it down into the smallest parts. If you don't know anything about it, a lot of times it's good to have a maybe an inspector, a third-party inspector,
yeah.
or a superintendent or a contractor who is not on the job, but you hire them to come and inspect your project every week or every couple of weeks, every month, and double check to make sure that it's being done. So if the plumber says, well, I need 30% payment, well, okay, Mr. Plumber, let's take a look at the plans. Let's take a look at the work you've completed. Let's see how much material is needed and needed to be installed. So you have to go out and walk the job, and he's going to say, well, I've put in all these pipes and I've connected these pipes and I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. And you need to make a determination if that is 30% of the job or not, right? I think it's pretty easy to figure out if you're doing a small house or a small development, what is 30% of material and labor, right? Let's say they're putting in the driveways. Well, you know, it's pretty easy to figure out if they've done 30% of the driveway or not, you know what I mean? Or the 30% of the ceiling tiles in a retail building, right? So it's kind of, you need to take a look at the plans and learn, you got to learn how to read plans, or not be completely a plan reader, but understand the basics of plans and understand the basics of material and say, hey, yeah, you're correct, or no, that's, you're crazy. You're not even anywhere close to what you're asking for. We need to come back to something more reasonable between you and I.
Right. And as far as the plan reading, I think everybody should, well, if you're definitely in development, because sometimes, you know, your architect, your civil engineer, they can't make the meeting. So you'll have to be able to represent yourself. So you need to know enough to be dangerous. And I'll take it a step further. If you can go through the pain of learning how to read these plans, you know, once you got it, you got it. So, you know, I think the more you know the plans, and you can, you know, you can maneuver your way around the site. I mean, it's your site, so you definitely want to, you know, learn how to read the plans. I mean, you don't have to be an expert at it, but you definitely need to know enough to be dangerous and be able to explain that. Quincy, go ahead with your question.
Hey, Corey pretty much asked the same thing that I was going to ask about, just pretty much having that construction knowledge. And if we didn't, what would be a proper way to go about it to review the percentage of work done?
Yeah, definitely the third party inspector. That would be, you know, that's what Ahmed said, and that's what I would do, a third party inspector.
Or superintendent, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, site superintendent too. Now speaking of superintendents, Ahmed, what you think is a good rate to pay a superintendent on site? Because right now, with the South Park cottages, I mean, we the GC, we the superintendent, because we had to go through so many contractors. We had to fire 4 GCs, and almost to the point where I wanted to get my GC license because I'm doing GC work anyway. You know, but what's the going rate for a superintendent?
You know,
roles and responsibilities.
Yeah, I think off the top of my head, it's kind of depending on their skill set and the size of the project you're doing, right? So if you're doing your cottages, which is 20 cottages, I would assume you would be paying a superintendent at least $100,000 a year for something, right? Because he has 20 cottages to manage. He has multiple contractors and subcontractors and scheduling and invoicing and billing that he has to also manage, right? So your superintendent on site doesn't double check things. He also coordinates. He coordinates deliveries. He coordinates subcontractors. He coordinates inspections. He coordinates whether the cement guy comes in first or the plumbing guy comes and digs a trench. He coordinates all this stuff for you. So on a larger project, I would assume at least $100,000 a year. Out here in California, it'd be more than that. And then if you are doing these very large projects where you probably have a project manager in house or something like that, that person could be anywhere from 100 to 120 to 150 to $170,000, depending on the size of the project. So some of these large projects that are $150 million, $100 million, their project managers would be getting paid at least 150 grand. The junior project managers, 75 to 100 maybe, and then in that range. But if you're doing small projects, you don't necessarily need to hire one unless the general contractor has one that that will be around. But it's also good to make sure that if you're not experienced in construction, that you do hire a third-party inspector or a third-party superintendent or someone like that with the knowledge and the experience to come by every so often to make sure that the plans are being followed, the billing is correct, and that everything is going in the right direction, because it's always good to have that independent third party double checking on things, and it's kind of worth the money sometimes. If the guy is going to charge you $500 to come out once a week or once every couple of weeks for an hour or two and walk your job site and double check things, it may be worth it, because $500 every once in a while is a lot better than losing tens of thousands of dollars on a mistake or a theft or something like that.
Right, I 100% agree. I just had my inspector come out on Saturday to do a third-party inspection. Even though we got an inspection from the city, we got the state coming out. I took it a step further to have my my own inspector come out just to make sure that everything was good. I had them checking on the framers. I had them checking on the window guys. I had them checking on the MEPs. If y'all don't know what MEPs is, that's the mechanicals, plumbing, and electric. I had them checking on the foundations. Just, that extra couple hundred allowed me to sleep good at night. And like I always say, you're gonna pay for it one way or the other. Like, you either gonna pay for it in money or money and time. Because these redos cost. And until you get in a situation to where a contractor messes up and you got to pay another contractor extra to come back behind them and fix their mistake, because it's more liability on the second contractor. A lot of people don't like coming up behind other people's mistakes because it's more liability and it's more work. It's more, more effort. So just pay that money up front, man, and get that peace of mind.
Something to think about with that is the inspectors that come out from the city and the state and the county, they are there to make sure your contractors and your subcontractors are following the plans, right? Hey, they're doing this they're pouring 4 inches of concrete. They are framing every 16 inches apart. They are using the right screws when they hang the air conditioning system. They're there to make sure they're doing it right, but they're not there to inspect the quality of the work, right? So, I can go and pour 4 inches of concrete on my driveway and it's going to look like shit, but it will pass inspection because I done 4 inches and I put the rebar and stuff like that, but the quality may be really poor, right? So it's also good to have that person to come make sure that the quality is being done correctly. Like, they're putting on drywall and they're sanding it well, they're painting well, they're not, the doors are hung straight. The city inspector is not going to care if your door is crooked or not. He just wants to make sure it's installed the right way. So it's also good to have this third party person inspect the quality of the work as well as the quantity done.
Right, gotcha. Corey, go ahead and unmute, ask your question.
Now, no other question. I think the hand was still raised from last time.
Okay. What about you, Quincy? Did you have another question, or is that the same one for last time?
No, it was the same one. I just lowered my hand.
Okay. All right. Yeah, make sure y'all lower your hands so we can I can get everybody in the audience. But yeah, man, if y'all don't have any other questions, I want to respect Amit's time. All right, Sheila, she got a question. Sheila, go ahead and ask your question.
Hello, good evening. My question is, when you're doing several flips at a time, how do you, how can I create a list or a document where I could buy like material in bulk so that I can get it at a better price? Or where can I go to get these items at a better price instead of Home Depot?
I can answer that for you, Sheila. I don't know for my I'm in
Oh,
flip.
you, Rashad. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, let me go back through your question, make sure I heard you right. So you want to order materials in bulk because you're doing so much volume, and you want to know where to look to get discounted pricing, right?
Yes, and also how to, because I'm buying in bulk, like how do I know which material is the best when buying in bulk?
All right. So my thing, I'm doing the same thing right now. And as crazy as it may sound, the one thing that I did to save money, and me and Ashley's on this call as well. She's our project manager and property manager. Um, I go line item, we go line item by line item. I think I said this in a group as well. Now we're doing 30 tiny houses. So for every $1,000 we save, it's really 30,000 to the bottom line. So it's not just $1,000. Like, and you do a multiple flip. So anytime you can save, that'll be great for you. One thing that I do is I ask for bulk pricing, and you won't get that unless you ask for it. I do that at Home Depot as well. Some of the supply houses, you can go to lumber houses, no matter where you are. I know, Sheila, I think you're in North Carolina or South Carolina, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you should be looking up supply houses, you know, also Home Depot too, because what I realized, you know, Home Depot, depending on the product, Home Depot has some of the cheaper prices, especially when you can get bulk pricing if you ask them. So that's one of the main things, just really asking, you know, if you can get bulk pricing and just have them compete against each other. You know, a real life scenario about 2 weeks ago, we were paying for $35 for an OSB board. And I think Ashley found it at Home Depot for, I think probably $8 less. But when we're talking about hundreds and hundreds of OSB boards, we're saving tens of thousands of dollars just by that $8, you know, price decrease. So to answer your question, I'll be looking at these supply houses as well as Home Depot and comparing prices and, going line item by line item.
I'll add something to that real quick. And this is something that, I try to do on property that you keep, right? And if you're flipping, it's one thing, but it's also, this will apply to flips as well, right? Is create some sort of standard across the board, right? So if I own 5 apartment complexes, I'm going to be using the same color of paint across all 5 apartment complexes. I'm going to use the same kind of floors. I'm going to use it as much as possible. So that gives you a way to have extra that you'll never have to think about, what am I going to do with this extra stuff? Because you're just going to use it to the next project, because it's going to be the same floor color, the same paint color and stuff like that. So try to create a standard. But what we do also in large scale construction is when we along the way, you get a binder, right? The 3-ring binder with the plastic sheet inserts and stuff like that, right? So along the way, during the construction process, you will get, you order all your paint, right? And I'll have your paint colors and your paint coats. We'll get that piece of paper, put it in the binder, right? You'll have the air conditioning delivered, and you'll have all the warranties and the service manuals and the serial numbers and stuff. Take that, put it in your binder, right? You'll get any sort of permits, warranties, materials, phone numbers, whatever it is, put that in a binder. So you have an actual job binder or project binder, right? So at the end of your project, whether you're turning it over and selling it to someone or you're keeping it for the long term, in 4 years from now, you're going to have an issue with the air conditioning. You're going to be like, oh my God, where's my warranty? Where's my this? Where's my that? Oh, I got to paint again. Well, what's the paint color? I forget the paint color. No, you have it in your binder. Just pull that binder off the shelf that said Atlanta, tiny home community, Rashad Jones-Jennings, Esquire, and pull that binder that for that project, and you open it up, you'll have everything that you ever used during your construction project, but it'll be years later and you'll never have to go out and match the color and try and go up on the roof and get the serial number for the air conditioning machine or look for the warranty in your emails from 5 years ago. You'll have it all in your binder. So whatever job you're doing, whether it's a flip or a new construction or something, create some sort of binder that will have all that important information that's easy for you to go back and find it, whether it's next week or 5 years from now.
Right. And also too, I think Sheila came in a little later after me and Ahmed was talking about Monday.com, Asana, and Trello. Those platforms are also good ways to keep those same files digitally. And I think Asana has a free version. So if you're a one-woman show, I mean, you could use Asana, have it digital, and it not cost you an arm and a leg. So you could start making your line items, roofing materials, flooring, siding, and then in these other columns, you can put Home Depot, Lowe's, the supply houses, what their prices are, and keep that updated. So now you're getting the best price for everything, especially when you're doing volume.
The worst thing is in the middle of summer, something breaks or whatever, and you got to drive an hour, climb up on a roof, pour in sweat, on some old ladder, trying to figure out the name of the air conditioning unit and the serial number so you can figure out who to call and what part number and who's the manufacturer and who's the supplier, and then coming off the roof, driving an hour back, wasting your whole day trying to get just a little bit of information, or going and taking a paint sample and holding it to the wall to see if it's the same color. When you're in your office and you just pull your binder off and you're like, oh, yeah, the paint code is 654XY. The air conditioning is the carrier unit 123, serial number XYZ. You know what I mean? You could just pull it off the shelf versus wasting a whole day trying to match a color to the wall or take a flooring sample and say, is it the same color? You know what I mean? You have it all from the very beginning.
Right.
That's awesome advice. Thank y'all so much. Now the question is, I have a checklist of all the major things that I need to look out for during the rehab, and also, but I do not have a checklist on which kind of material is cheaper, but we can get away with it type of thing.
So Sheila, I'll say this, right? One thing, I was in Home Depot yesterday. So one of the things I do is I'll go to these supply houses and Home Depot and Lowe's, and I'll just go in each department and ask these type of questions. And I stick with what's consistent. The same way I tell people, hey, get 5 quotes on each subcontractor. The way I in the beginning, now I know my prices, but in the beginning, the way I did that was I got 5 different quotes and I stuck with what was consistent. And you can do the same thing, with finding out what materials work, the high grade, mid grade, low grade, what will do, because it's like Ahmed said, you want to, if you're doing volume, you want to put the same amount of stuff in every house, but you can ask Ashley. Ashley, you can chime in on this too. One night, me and Ashley, we went to Home Depot, and we made a list. We made a spreadsheet. Of we got an A, a B, and a C. Pretty much the same materials, but when we're doing a $500,000 house, we're doing a little bit better ceiling fans, a little bit better this, a little bit better that. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that you can do too. Make an A, B, and C model, depending on which price point you're in, like low income rentals, or average price houses own up to $500,000 and up. So that's something that you can do as well.
Thank you so much.
All right, no problem. I hope I answered your question. Yeah, so I mean, man, I think, you know, we gave them a lot of information. They don't have a lot of questions, but like we said, man, development, it's you know, I feel like it's high level is not impossible to do. You just got to be disciplined, and you know, you got to be willing to learn. You got to be willing to put in those extra steps. One of the things that I did was, you know, before I had my own personal official, you know, hearing with the city, I went in and sat in on someone else's,
Yeah.
and that gave me more confidence, you know. And the way it happened was actually, so I was sitting in the city council in the room, and you know, I didn't have anything to present because I was presenting the next month. But after they called on everybody, they called on me, and I was telling them, I said, hey, I'm presenting next month. I got the tiny homes, and that just opened up a conversation. They was interested. So at that point, I had them. You know, it was like, oh man, I heard about that. I saw it. We can't wait the next month. So that gave me more confidence, one, because, you know, I'm in there, they're talking to me. Now, when I go for my official meeting, I'm not nervous at all. They know me, they know the product. And to me, coming from somebody who plays sports, that's no different from me watching film. I basically went in there just to see, hey, okay, who's the hard ass? Who's this? Who's that? Trying to figure out who's who. And you know, just taking those extra steps, and it worked out.
You know, everything at the city hall is public information, right?
Mm-hmm.
So don't be timid or afraid to go into the planning department and say, hey, what's going on here? Who pulled the permit? What are they building? Can you show me the plans? I'm curious. Can you fill me in on this, right? Because that is all public information. And it's a great way of learning what other things are happening in the city, whether you drive by and see something under construction, or you want to know who the contractor is and get their phone number. All that information is public information. So you can always go, like Rashad said, go to the planning and city hearings, as well as go to the planning counter and ask questions, because it's all public information and they are required to answer your questions.
Exactly, man. And like I said, it's their job to answer your questions. Just like when I go in Home Depot and I'm talking to the lumber guy, or I'm talking to the flooring guy, or I'm in appliances and I'm asking questions. It's their job to give me the game. So you got to put yourself in position, get in the arena, you know, go to these places and ask questions, because, you know, it's their job to give you the answers. Anybody got any questions? Ahmed, you got anything you want to leave them with?
You know, it's all about, and I know it's hard because some people are really good at this and some people are not, like me. I'm not super good about it. Is being able to be organized, right? It takes a little bit of work. I saw a hand came up right now. Be organized from the very beginning, because if you're halfway through a project, whether it's a flip or a new building, you're trying to and start organizing and you're halfway through it, it's going to be a mess. So take the time to get on your computer, create the spreadsheets, create the binders, like Rashad said, have A, B, and C, the files, the invoicing, the billing, the project management software like Asana or Monday or whatever it is. It's hard, it's boring, and I'm not good at it, but you have to do it, because if you don't, your project is destined for failure. So just push yourself to be organized and keep track of things versus a pile of papers on your desk.
Right, like me.
Like me.
Yeah, but hey, we works in progress. You know what I'm saying? So I hired somebody from Task Rapid to come, you know, to come help organize me. But that's the thing, man. I'm big on, you know, acting in my strengths and hiring out my weaknesses. So organization is not my main thing. So, you know, I don't have a problem hiring that out. Of course, you can't outsource everything. So you still gotta, you know, take on some kind of accountability. But you know, it's ways to get it done.
That is true. I think there's one more question that came up. I don't know if it's
okay.
Yeah, I got a few minutes. I got like 10 minutes before I gotta run, but we're good.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna stop it at 8.
Yeah, no
Quinn, go ahead.
Okay, so Ahmed, you said when you first started out, you was working at the commercial brokerage, and then from there you went on to do the construction management for your partner
Yeah.
that was doing the high schools. Did that have any effect as far as the experience side go when it helped you choose your asset class? I know you said you do multifamily. You mainly focus on multifamily and industrial. Did that give you the experience to help you choose to go into those asset classes?
It did, because as a broker, I was focusing on industrial property, warehouses mostly. So I would be able to see projects from the planning portion. You know, the clients like, hey, we're going to build this industrial building, we're going to build these industrial park or whatever. They start pre-leasing and pre-marketing. So I would see things from the design aspect through the construction, all the way through to the leasing and sales of those properties, right? So that gave me a good understanding of the flow of a project from the inception. I wasn't a part of the land acquisition, but from the planning inception, because they bring the teams on early, all the way through to the completion, the sales, and the leasing of those properties, right? So it gave me a very good understanding of that flow. So whether it's an industrial building or a high school, the construction flow, and like Rashad's single family village that he's building, the construction flow will be almost the same, right? You have your land acquisition, your financing, your pre-planning, your design, your entitlements, your approvals, your bidding, the actual construction, the scheduling, the completion, the inspections, the final sign-offs, and then your marketing, your advertising, your sales, and stuff like that. So the flows are very similar depending if you're building a single family home or a very large industrial building, right? It's just a difference of product type, right? So I focus on a certain product type because that's what I want to focus on. You can focus on any product type that you're interested in, as long as, you know, I would say, as make sure there's a market for it and you can do it. You know, like I would love to build high-rise condos in Miami Beach. You know, it's like sexy and cool, but that's just not what I do. You know what I mean? I go after something local here that I can make money at and I can be good at. So, but the flow is the same. It's just a difference of product type.
Okay.
Nice. It made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Anybody else got any questions while we still got Ahmed here? And until somebody else raise their hand, I just want to say, man, you know, I hope y'all got a lot out of this coaching call, with another developer that we can bounce kind of questions and ideas off of. He has a totally different level of experience than me. He's been in 15 years, worked on hundreds of $1 million developments and things like that. But if I can leave y'all with anything, it'll be, don't let this webinar go in vain. Like, let's start putting action steps. And maybe y'all not ready for development right now, but whatever field realm that y'all working in, whether it's flipping, wholesaling, lending, being a realtor, make sure we take an action. And that's why I was talking about the Power 5. You know, I do a Power 5 for every day, but, you know, I want y'all to at least start doing it for the week. Basically, hey, these are the 5 things that if I get these 5 things done for the week, it was a good week. And then you compound that over 52 weeks, and then you got progress. And then you're going to start seeing some, fruits of your labor. So definitely take action. Get ready to go kill the week. I hope y'all motivated. I hope y'all got, a lot of information from this. And, I want to see y'all start putting some of this stuff in motion.
Yeah, 100%. Maybe one of the next calls is how to take advantage of the slowdown in the economy.
Oh yeah, that'll be a good one. Because I know a lot of people they sitting on their hands now. Like, oh well, I'll just sit on the sidelines until they come back. But it's always deals to be made. I think every property has a price, has a number. We just got to be better negotiators. But it's definitely not sit on your hands time. Yeah.
A lot of right now I am going to get really aggressive in preparing. So the second that market starts to shift, or that second that you think it's going to shift, I'm going to be the first one out of the gates making things happen. I'm not going to be the last guy. I'm going to be the first guy. So I'm going to be doing a lot of preparation, a lot of planning, a lot of, getting my ducks in a row, getting my financing, my land, my opportunities, my team, whatever it is. Oh, this is time to get get in the gym and get ready to go out and make it happen.
Right. One of the main things you said, having this team ready. The team with the best players win.
Yeah.
The team with the best players win. But I want to say, man, I appreciate you coming, talking to my people, and we'll we'll definitely connect. And next time you're in Atlanta, or next time I'm in Orange County,
Yeah.
or we're gonna meet up again at one of these conferences. It's about time.
I miss you, bro. It's only been 4 weeks and I've already missed you. So we definitely.
Yeah, man, we'll make it happen. Man,
Right.
keep thriving, and we'll be in touch.
Sounds good. Anytime you need me, I'm here, guys. Let me know.
I appreciate it.
You got it, brother. Miss you.
All right.
Love you. Take care.
All right.